The first female Archbishop of Canterbury will be confirmed in a service next month in St Paul's Cathedral. Many applauded Bishop Sarah Mullally's historic appointment, but Channel 4 News has been investigating a number of scandals on her watch in the Diocese of London. One of the most disturbing involves the death 5 years ago of a priest called Alan Griffin, formerly chaplain at Exeter University, before he became a rector in the City of London. Alan Griffin took his own life after his name appeared in a dossier compiled in secret by a former head of operations in the London Diocese. That document contained an array of lurid claims about 42 Church of England clergy members. Some referred to criminal convictions, some were serious safeguarding concerns, but others were simply tittle-tattle. And fabricated gossip about Father Alan was to have deadly consequences. Father Alan's friend Nicholas Sabine, a former Bank of England regulator, knew him for half a century. He's never spoken publicly before.
I think that the accusations, the lies that were spread within the church about him would have been devastating to him. He had really high standards, he was a very moral person, and he would think that other people would believe these lies would have been devastating to him.
Father Alan was a vulnerable man. He'd tried to take his life before when he found out he was HIV positive. Then, just weeks after he discovered his name was in the secret dossier, Father Alan again attempted suicide. 11 months later, still unaware of the specific allegations against him, he tried a third and final time, and tragically was successful.
I must say I was absolutely staggered because I had seen him some weeks earlier in a sort of gregarious, friendly situation. So I was really, really surprised. I had no idea of any of these horrendous problems.
A year after Father Alan's death, the senior coroner, Mary Hassall, ruled he killed himself because he could not cope with an investigation into his conduct, the detail of and the source for which he had never been told. He did not abuse children. He did not have sex with young people under the age of 18. He did not visit prostitutes. He did not endanger the lives of others by having sex with people whilst an HIV risk. And there was no evidence that he did any of these things. This is Martin Sargent, the man who came up with the original report on the 42 clergy, despite having a guilty secret himself, a conviction for theft in the 1990s. Martin Sargent was a gambling addict who, it later transpired, had stolen church funds to fuel his habit. He left his post as head of operations in the London Diocese soon after Sarah Mullally became bishop. But on his way out, he suggested compiling what he called a brain dump for the Archdeacon of London. The dossier became known as the Two Cities Report, covering both Westminster and the City of London. Another priest who heard he too had been smeared in the report confronted Bishop Sarah in a covertly recorded meeting. In the audio passed to Channel 4 News, this is how Bishop Sarah absolves herself of responsibility.
You know, when the safeguarding team sought out what was gossip and what wasn't gossip, I never went back and read that report, because why would I want to know what gossip was?
But the rector of a London church, who was led to believe he was also in the report, disputed Bishop Sarah's account in a Zoom meeting during lockdown.
The Bishop of London said she hadn't read the report. So I unmuted myself and I said, "But Bishop, that cannot be true." And she said, "Oh, yes, it is true." And I said, "But you assured me that I wasn't in the report, and it's difficult to see how you could assure me that I wasn't in the Two Cities report if you hadn't read the Two Cities report." To which she responded that she was aware of its content, but I don't quite see how that works.
London priest, the Reverend Robert Thompson, who's a member of the church's ruling body, the General Synod, says Bishop Sarah has failed in her duties.
The issue is, if she didn't read the report, that shows that she was not taking her responsibility as a bishop properly. If she did read the report and did nothing about it, that also shows that she has done nothing in relation to her proper responsibility as a bishop about the report.
The Bishop of London told us that she did not read the report because its contents needed to be properly assessed by safeguarding professionals and the diocesan registrar. She confirmed that she was told who was named in the report. After Father Alan's death, the coroner took the unusual step of issuing a report to prevent future deaths. In it, she criticised the Church for systemic and individual failings.
I don't consider the Church of England to be any different from any other major institution. You know, people are crushed. It happens in your business, I know that very well. Large institutions put the institution first.
The London Diocese, under Bishop Sarah's leadership, commissioned an independent review recommending wholesale reform. Bishop Sarah herself apologised unreservedly. Nicholas Sabine wants the Church to go further.
I think the Church should establish a truly independent investigation throughout the country into records held on individual priests where their lives may have been ruined by the records and the use of this gossip and maybe lies. And those priests should be compensated, or their lives should be put right.
He says he was angry after his friend's death, but now prefers to remember the happy times.
Yes, when Alan retired, he found a perfect job as a priest on the cruise ships, where he combined his pastoral care and giving the services on board with lecturing on the classics, his area of academic expertise. And then to go to a party at his house in Wapping just before lockdown, a year or so before he died, and to find there Roman Catholics, Protestants, people from the cruise ships, all mixing together, and only he could produce that marvellous combination.
Sarah Mullally was appointed Archbishop of Canterbury after the unprecedented resignation of her predecessor, who admitted failing to do enough to follow up on reports of abuse. Now, before she's even confirmed as Justin Welby's successor, the Bishop of London is facing troubling questions about her own failure to act. In a statement, Bishop Sarah told us, "Ever since I became Bishop of London in 2018 and before, I have spoken publicly about the clear need for independent scrutiny of safeguarding across the Church of England. That is why I commissioned the Robson report into Father Alan's death, to examine exactly what went wrong in the tragic run-up to November 2020. The public recommendations from the independent report in 2022 have been vital ever since in driving forward change across the Diocese of London." She went on to say, "I understand why now, as I prepare to become Archbishop of Canterbury, there will be renewed scrutiny of past cases and especially my role, and that we must all be willing to have light shone on our actions regardless of our role in the Church." She says she's determined to improve safeguarding across the Church of England.
And tomorrow night you can see the second part of Cathy Newman's investigation, featuring a whistleblower from the safeguarding team and calls for the Archbishop's appointment to be halted. You can also read more from Cathy about this exclusive story on Substack with Channel 4 News. Subscribe now to read our latest newsletters and analysis for free at channel4news.substack.com. And if you've been affected by any of the issues in tonight's report, you can seek help by going to channel4.com/support.